thanks, Kevin, for having me.
Sure.
So this is a postural presentation. It's going to be super laid back and relaxed. Please ask questions, yell out, whatever it is you need to do. All my information is on the front of this first page, postural presentation. Email, cell phone, you can literally text message, you can call, you can email. Any questions, not just about posture, but about your knee or your back or your hip or your neck. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and hopefully I can help. But there's kind of 4 objectives today, and we're not going to talk a whole lot. Like Kevin said, we're going to kind of get down on the ground and actually do some of these things. But the first one is what is posture? What is posture? I mean, just very simply. Secondly, what does your posture indicate, or what story does your posture tell? So we can kind of stand outside and watch people walk back and forth, and just by looking at their posture, we can tell: are they shy? Are they depressed? Are they sad? Are they happy? Are they confident? Are they athletic? So it's really pretty interesting how you can literally just look at a person and kind of tell their emotional state of mind. So posture is super important in that way, and we're going to touch more on that a little bit later. Most importantly to everybody, because we could talk about posture all we want. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a little kid, my mom would say, sit up straight, get your shoulders back. And they can tell you that all they want, and I can stand up here and tell you that all I want. But unless you know why it's so important, you're just not going to make the changes. And I can tell you as a physical therapist, 80% of the people we see with neck pain or upper back pain or numbness, tingling, pins, needles into their hands, fingers, arms, it's all postural related. So it's huge. And if you don't have issues yet, if you have poor posture and you don't have any of those issues yet, you will at some point in time. So we're going to talk about the importance of that. And again, unless you know how important it is, I don't think we'll make the change. We'll just kind of continue to do what we do. And one quick thing, we're going to get interactive already. Does someone want to come up here for a quick second? Anybody? You want to come up? So let's do it from, it's hard for everybody to see, but our posture is our foundation. It's our base behind everything. It's like the foundation of a house. So it's what everything else moves on. So our head is 8 to 10 pounds. It sits on our spine. Our arms, our legs, they kind of all move around the foundation, which is our posture. So if you just, what was your name? Peggy. So if you just sit right there, I don't know if all you guys can see this or not, but if Peggy kind of slouches, so just go ahead and slouch, then hold your arms out like this, Peggy. So arms nice and tight. So she's gonna try to resist me. So I don't know if you guys all want to, so it's pretty cool. So go ahead and try to resist me, so I can push her right down without much of a problem. Now if she just sits up nice and tall, hi Rita, and then she brings her arms in here, up nice and tall, go ahead and hold right there. I literally can't break it. So just the simple visual test as to what posture does. Sitting up tall, you're just stronger with everything else around you, your arms, legs, and everything. So kind of cool, right? You felt the difference?
Oh, absolutely.
And you guys can kind of try that on each other at some point, but it just kind of visually shows you how important posture really is. Lastly, we're going to show you, how do you fix your posture, and most importantly, what fixing your posture is going to allow you to do better. So the first thing, you can stay or go or whatever. The first thing is just simply, what is posture? Posture is the position of our body, or the position in which we carry our body. The most typical kind of dysfunctional posture is rounded shoulders, rounded back, forward head. We're going to talk in detail in a second or two as to what this is doing. Obviously, good posture, shoulders back, head back, abdominals nice and tight. So that's commonly what you see. You can take a look at the picture on page 2, and you can see the before and after. And what we're going to do in a second is show you just 3 really simple steps that you can do every day to make your posture go from the after to the before pretty quickly. Now, maintaining that new posture is another issue, but we're going to touch on that as well, so we'll get into that. The picture below just shows your typical posture: forward head, flat back. Some people have weak abdominals and their back kind of just arches, so we're going to work on contracting those inner core abdominal muscles to tighten that up. If you go to the next page, what does one's posture indicate? So it indicates a lot of different things. Weakness, fatigue. Yeah, sorry, I ran out of copies.
No worries.
So posture indicates weakness, fatigue, habit, daily activities. So do you sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day at your job? Well, that's your daily habit. Your body's predisposed to be in that position every single day for 8 hours. So we're going to help show you some ways to hopefully counteract that. Fatigue. You can be the strongest person in the world with the best posture in the world, but if you fatigue, if you're at a desk all day, or you're at an assembly line assembling things, or you're a physical therapist bent over people massaging all day, you're going to fatigue with time. And so it doesn't matter how strong you are, you've got to counteract that fatigue in some way. And then of course weakness. If you just don't have the muscles to hold yourself up, you're not going to be able to do it. Number 2 is joint tightness, muscle stiffness. A great example of this is our pectorals, our chest muscles. Again, you can be as strong as humanly possible, but if you have tight pectoral muscles, it's going to constantly pull you forward, and you're just not going to be able to counteract it. So not only do you have to strengthen your upper back muscles, you also have to stretch your pectoral muscles. So it's kind of a twofold situation. The other part of that is joint tightness, right? So we have our spine, our vertebrae that run down our back, and each one of those vertebrae has to be able to move, to come up tall, lean forward, bend to the side, twist. If one or more of those vertebrae aren't moving the way they're supposed to, you're not going to be able to have good posture because your vertebrae are going to be kind of stuck in this position. So we're going to show you ways, primarily with the foam roller, to loosen up your vertebrae. Thirdly, this is a little out of my realm of practice, but emotional state. We talked about that briefly in the beginning. I had a little kid come into the clinic the other day. He was about 12 years old, and you could tell he was shy. He had his hat pulled over his eyes. He was slouched down like this. He was almost like in a protective mode, you know? And with someone like that, I can teach him to get as strong as possibly. I can stretch him out, but he's obviously shy. He's not confident, all those other things. So I try to help with that as much as humanly possible, but I can only do what I can do in that way. So you can really tell someone's emotional state just by their posture. So we're going to show you ways, back to number 1, weakness, fatigue, daily habit. We're going to show you a routine that you can do every day that I call the key 3 that you're going to do throughout the day to help kind of reverse your daily habits, your weakness, and your fatigue. As far as joint muscle stiffness and tightness, we're going to show you ways to loosen up that stiffness and tightness with stretching and with foam roller exercises. And again, emotional state, we can only do what we can do there. Last, why is posture important? Again, posture, if you kind of look at a spine, this spine's a little older, but this is kind of a side view, if everyone can see. So this is me standing to the side, and the spine is not straight. It actually has some curves built into it, and those curves are built into the spine to kind of reduce the load through the vertebrae and through the tissue. If it was just a straight spine, it wouldn't do a very good job of absorbing loads. So because it has different angles in it, it disperses those loads a little better. So the simplest way to look at it is if this is a normal spine, a typical poor posture is rounded shoulders and forward head. And so it would look kind of, and I'm exaggerating this a little, but it would look kind of like this. So can you see right away what that'll do to your joints? It just jams your joints together. So all day long, those joints of your neck are getting jammed together. Not only that, if you do this every day for work, all the muscles around there, they're going to actually shorten. So if I'm like this, you can actually feel that tissue kind of ball up in your neck. Well, if you do that hour after hour every day, that tissue is literally going to shorten. And even if you want to, you can't come up tall because that tissue is now shortened down, limiting how far you can move. And then, so again, good posture is going to reduce pain. And the reason it's going to reduce pain is because it's going to decompress those joints. So it's going to take that and it's going to unload it like that. It's also going to take tension off tissue. And for anyone that's ever had numbness or tingling or pins and needles in their hands, that can come from lots of different areas. But often, very often, it comes from the neck. And when you kind of slouch forward and your head goes forward, there's these little tiny holes along the side of your spine called foramina, where these little nerves go through. And these nerves control what you feel in your arms: numbness, tingling, pain, hot, cold, and also how strong you are. So poor posture literally closes down those little holes, the foramina, by about 25%. So sometimes people that have numbness, tingling, pins, needles in their arms, literally they just correct their posture. It opens up that hole by about 25%, and their numbness, tingling, pins, and needles goes away. So simple things like that. And then most importantly, good posture is going to help you to move better and perform better. Whether you're here with Kevin, whether you're a weekend warrior, whether you're not an athlete at all, it's going to help you move better, perform better, and reduce pain. So is there any questions on that so far? Nothing.
How long does it take once you start working?
So I wrote this down here, and this is not to discourage you at all, but it's just to kind of demonstrate how much you really have to do to change your posture. It requires about 5,000 to 10,000 repetitions of an exercise to change what's called muscle memory.